Hey, hi, it's me, I'm back. It is my last night in Chiang Mai. I'm sleepy. It is 12:17. I did my laundry a second ago. I hope that it will be dry by tomorrow. I have to check out at 11. It should be. That's that's about 11 hours. It should be dry after 11 hours, but it's nighttime, obviously, and so I don't know if I don't know. I don't know. Not exactly. It's probably smarter to do it during the daytime, but I was out and about during the day. Anyways, I did my norm place that I went to is my official chill out and make art place. And I think it is that because I like to be there. It's an interesting looking area. The chairs suck and the setup isn't good to break out your laptop. I actually probably tried one time and I was like, no, it's too hot. It's an outside venue and not too hot to draw, but too hot to like concentrate. I did a little bit more. I showed this before. I did a little bit more with that. She or he looks a bit more dead. And now that I'm looking at it on here, I actually I really like that the inside the face, kind of almost lines up with where the hair comes down for the girl face at the very bottom. I didn't notice that before. In like a more recent drawing that I've done, I, I decided to continue with my mini ears. That's what those things are coming out of, you could say, the one woman's cheek or the guy, the face inside the face. Those are a bunch of ears over there. I put white paint where the hair, where all that is, but the ink beneath it was was not a permanent ink, and so it's smudged, which is okay. It kind of gives it a neat layered look, and I think that's lovely. I think that's lovely. Let's see. Yeah, I'll show you the second one first. This is the last thing that I did. I was running out of time. Weirdly enough, man, I was vibing. I was vibing when I was making this. I have to get very creative about how I apply paint, which is what the red is. Let's see if it's got some white. It's got a little bit of white paint, but not red. So what I do is just put the paint on the paper. And then because I'm working in a non-artsy environment, artist environment, I take this piece of plastic that I keep with the paint tube and I turn it inside out, put my hand in there, and then I smudge it around I smudge the paint around with my finger on the page. Anyways, I'm gonna do more in that, I'm sure, in the future. It's really, let me show up close. It's really all that red. I don't know. You can't really tell. It looks way better. It looks way better in person, more interesting in person. It just looks like nothing there. maybe this is just me. This is me in my artist eye. And I'm like, yeah, yeah, look at that. Look at how it sludges. It's a very smooth, yeah. Anyways, personal preference, very smooth. And then here's the most that I worked on. The, f- Here it is. The face, I don't like how dark that blue is, but all I had were highlighters that I brought along with me to to draw with and to paint with to give color to some of my drawings. Yeah. So it's a head and trees and it's a normal thing for me. And sorry, I'm in a very weird light. I brought my table literally into the kitchen and it's pointing to the left is the bathroom and behind me is my actual room. But it's very precarious here. So I don't know, I like it. I like it. It's simple, but but you know the what I've learned, which is something that I was taught a long time ago, which is the to add to add patterns, to add um I remember a YouTube video one time. He was drawing an eyeball and he said something about like adding detail. And the key for him to make something look really nice and finished and good was to just really go in there and add detail, whether it's cross hatching, whether it's a bunch of dots like pointillism, something like that. And both of those things, hearing it a long time ago from me, the pattern thing, and hearing the detail thing, I've come to the conclusion. I've come to the conclusion that they were fucking right. They were right. Just add detail. I I did that. I did some things to this one as well, but I really don't like what I did. I like some of what I did, but generally it's just kind of boring. I keep going back to this thinking I can make it into something, and maybe I'll take a picture and add it in a collage to something else. That's always a possibility. That's one reason I like to do a lot of like, it's not ugly things, but I try different things and I'm one of the reasons I can be satisfied with it, even if it's like not great. There's something there. This one, the lips are interesting, the face, um, the position of it, I guess it's different for me. Um, and that can eventually, I could, I could bring that into another drawing in the future in a collage kind of way with my iPad, which is what I do. I do this stuff in my sketchbook, then I take a picture of it with my iPad and then create, and then I mess with it. That's it. That is it. So, my final night, I have been thinking about something for a very long time. I said in a video a day or two ago, 2 days, that I happened to go and walk down a canal. It's kind of a touristy thing, and they built it. And I've only been there during the day, and I could tell that it probably looked really nice at nighttime. And I wasn't there. I got there at about, I walked down dark streets and it's kind of out of the way. So I think you could probably come here to Chiang Mai and never really know that it's there unless you happen to like do a lot of searches of what's the thing to see. And I don't know that you would go out of your way to see it, but it's nice. It's very pretty. It's pretty during the day. I'm not saying it's not pretty during the day, but I kind of thought it would be lit up at night, and it was. From there, I just had to go, and it's it's a jazz club co-op, free jazz music. You can buy a beer, buy water, soda, whatever there, but it's really just kind of like an open air jam session. And I always thought it was really cool. Cool looking, cool vibe. It's one of the first things maybe that I've saw when I first came here that I kind of like wandered on. And so it's like, to me, it's kind of special in that way. It attracts a lot of people, probably passers-by. And so I walked there and I thought maybe there'd be not as many people because the Chiang Mai tourist season is kind of down low right now. Like it's at the end of the highest amount of tourists, which is really nice. Like it's back to the part of Chiang Mai that I like, which is it's not a sleepy town at all, but it's got the tourist people, got but it feels slower paced or something. Um, compared to, I mean, I've only been to a couple places here in Thailand, so I'm only comparing it to that. I think it's like the best of it's a city, but it's slow. It's kind of got this old artsy vibe, interesting, unique. You know, I would back when I first came, and I only had American stuff to compare it to. I compared it to like a cross between Seattle and Charleston, South Carolina, where I'm sort of from, because Charleston's got this like old historical aesthetic. It's a holy city. It's got churches all over the place. And Seattle's got the grunge and it's never really thought, probably shows my age if I think grunge when I think of Seattle. But it's got, yeah, my version of Seattle. It's very indie. It's very indie. I should say indie instead of artsy. Seattle's indie, maybe artsy, hipster, hippie, and then Charleston is small, but it's historical. The sidewalks suck in Charleston. The but the sidewalks are still better than here. They really don't have sidewalk infrastructure. Even in the places where they're like, here's a sidewalk, it's like there'll be a thing right in the middle of the sidewalk, and you kind of like walk around a giant box in the middle, or you're always like walking over like broken sidewalk, and it takes a lot of energy to walk around on a sidewalk here. And sometimes you give up and you're just like, fuck it, I'm walking on the street. I don't give a shit. Kill me. Kill me with your run me down. So, yeah, what was I going to say? And so here, it's got hippie, indie, feels very indie. independent, artsy. There are hippies and hipsters and hipsters and trustafarians and crustafarians and hippies and vegans and digital nomads and Thai people. But the Thai people almost feel like they're almost like influenced by it as well. So I don't know, maybe the Thai people started it and some like hipster foreigners were like, whoa, check out the Chiang Mai. And then it all just kind of like snowballed into what it is. Or maybe this has always been what it is. So it got coffee shops on every corner, it seems. Independent coffee shops that they get like coffee grown from the northern mountain people and it's all very like, you know, it's all, I've never been to Portland, but I feel like if I've been to Portland, maybe I would be saying, because I think Portland's almost like a smaller version of Seattle. So I think maybe Portland instead of a cross between Charleston. But here also, I think Charleston too, because again, the nickname of Charleston. So Charleston is the holy city and it's got churches all over the place, I guess. But Chiang Mai has temples all over the place. Temple, you turn, you look this side of the street, temple, that side of the street, temple. A block that way, temples. A couple blocks that way, a temple. You know, just I don't know why they needed so many, but they said I think there's a competition. Our temple's better than yours. Someone else comes like, no, my temple. So yeah, okay. So that's that. I went to the jazz club and I stood across the street from it, took a video, show the video. Sure I showed it already. Cue to me, remember? And and I walked across the street and then there's too many people. And it's like, I don't know where to stand. I don't know anyone here. I don't know how to talk to people, you know? And it's just like when you're in a bar or club and it's like wall to wall people, even though it was outdoors, it's sort of like I almost want to buy a beer so I could have something to hold in my hand so I could know what to do with my body. So I'm a little bit disappointed that I didn't make it more of a thing for me to go out while I was here at nighttime and go to, yeah, I could have showed up to this place. Um, I think, okay, I could have showed up to this place and uh, a few nights a week, just show up, chill while they get ready to set up, and they start playing some music and the crowd begins to gather. And I could have, made sure that I was there at that time. And, um, of course, the issue for me is the whole, what I've been talking about is I get into this habit of walking everywhere and I get exhausted. Then I'm um, not eating. I'm exhausted. I get back to my room. I take a shower. And it's just one of those things. It's like, I just want to stay inside. I don't want to have to push myself to try to be around people because I used to do that. I used to push myself to be around people and to go to the clubs and the bars, and I thought if I could push myself hard enough that I would, I would get better at it, and I would grow to love it and like it, and because in my mind, I mean, again, I'm talking right now and I'm saying I wish I had done it, but I know if I had done it, I wouldn't have liked it. I wouldn't have liked it. It would have sucked. And then I'd be making videos going, I tried it again and it sucked. Um, Gonna go to Bangkok, gonna go by bus. Would have liked to have gone by night train. Maybe should have flew over Bangkok to where I'm eventually gonna go. Maybe it would have been slightly cheaper to do that, maybe not. I don't know. But I'm gonna go to a place called Pattaya. Pattaya's got a lot of bars and it's got a lot of clubs. And in the past, I would go to bars and clubs and I would drink and I met different people. I met girls. I tried to meet guys too, friendly, but they always thought that I was gay. They- Or they just thought that I was like really young and they were uncomfortable with me. And now that I recognize being autistic, I understand why. I think more to men than to women, I give the uncanny valley effect. And I think for a lot of autistic women, they give the uncanny valley effect to other women. And so they actually feel more included and welcomed by guys, even if guys aren't trying to like get with them. They just feel like, oh, I can just relax and not have to mask so hard. And so that's how I am with women. I just don't feel like I have to do all that much. And the sad thing is that like, I realized later on that eventually they still judge and they still ask questions. Why aren't you like the other guys? Well, even for a foreigner, if I'm here in Thailand, why aren't you normal? Why are you doing what you're doing? Why are you doing it that way? Why aren't you, and I've spent enough time there that I would have met a guy as a friend. So I'm a little bit like, I'm stopping in through Bangkok almost because I don't want to go. When I was walking on the canal earlier tonight, I got that fear of being seen again. I felt very it's a canal. There's getting really tired and my eyes are getting, contacts are getting dry. On this side, there's like eating places and drinking tea and not alcohol, but just like drinking uh, ice drinks and stuff. Um, Fruit drinks, fruit ice smoothies, and the canal, and then the walkway. And we're all like they're kind of on, but not on the walkway. And I just felt very like smushed, like I can't get away from them. And I feel like because they're just sitting there. So they're going to walk, they're going to see whoever's passing by and just people watch. And so the people in this case would be me. They're going to be watching me. I was recording as I walked at different times. And when I feel like I'm going to record someone's face, I turn the recording off. So I was just holding the phone And I've also got a drink to try not to get too loopy and dehydrated. It's like a sports drink. It's a Thai sports drink, like uh, Gatorade, but cheaper than Gatorade. And I hope it gives me the correct electrolytes. I've been drinking them more often to try to keep myself liquidated. And I kind of balance my phone on my hand while I switch the phone from my right hand to my left hand and switch my drink from my right hand to my left hand. And I'm hyper aware of being watched and being seen. And normally you would think, and I assume that to a lot of autistic people, maybe they get more stiff. And at times I do as well. But there's another time where I almost become so fixated on the fact that people are looking at me that I actually kind of move weirdly fluidly, like weirdly like smooth, but also like performative. I don't know how to say it. I don't even know if that's what I look like. I took my phone and I kind of like put it into my pocket and I see this girl looking at me and she's just going like this, giving me this like, well, actually her eyes were like wide, like she thought like I was gonna, I don't know. I don't know what she thought, but I felt I sometimes am perceived as like I'm a criminal or like I'm a bad guy, like I'm shifty, shady, and I fear that maybe that's what she was perceiving me as, um, a weird, uh, dangerous, weird criminal guy doing. He's up to something. That guy's up to something. He's like, no, ma'am, I'm just putting my phone in my pocket. And, but I know that I know I know that people perceive me as up to something at times. And the more uncomfortable I get, the more kind of like weird I act because I'm uncomfortable. But it looks like I'm shady because also I'm avoiding eye contact. I'm walking in a straight line. There's also a possibility, high possibility, that she might have perceived that I was on drugs in in Pattaya, since I'm talking about Pattaya. There were times when I first got there that people would meow at me as I'm walking down the alley, and I'm like, "Is that they're meowing?" And because I'm walking down the alley, so they're like, are they kind of like jokingly calling me a cat? And it's like, girls, um, bar girls. They're meowing, meow, meow, meow. Later on, later on, I find out that meow, meow, meow is the word for drunk. They were not meowing at me. They were saying that I was meow. Oh, he's meow, 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 meow. And I was just walking down the street. And I think that I was probably often dehydrated. That's why I obsessively try to drink water and obsessively try to like bring more like electrolytes or whatever. I'm sweating because I walk everywhere. And even if it's not like super hot, like, even at night when I was walking on a canal, it's like 79 degrees or something outside. It's not hot. There's no sun. It's dark. And I'm still like, I can go like that and like have it's not like dripping sweat, but it's like sweat built up, and then I can feel the sweat. So yeah, like just me walking around, if I get a little bit like dehydrated, or if I get into that sense, because the other thing is just that again, if people are on the street, doing whatever in their workplaces, and they're bored out of their mind, often they'll look at me as I walk somewhere, and they'll be like, "No, no," and I'm like, "No," and I'm just walking. I'm just afraid to make eye contact, and I have no social skills, so I'm not going to talk to you. I'm not going to look at you, and I'm ADHD hyper focused, and so I've decided I'm going to a coffee shop that that's that that is that way, or I have hyper focus where I'm like, I've got to get to the food. I know I need to eat food. I know I've got to do it. I'm gonna do it, and then I walk past the food. It's hard to define my channel, and I think YouTube really wants a defined channel to push out algorithm, because that way they know, like, oh, if it's just ASMR, give it to these people. If it's talking about autism, we give it to these people. If it's an art channel, we give it to these people. If it's a vlog of this guy traveling, we give it to this people. But if it's all of those things, it's just me. You don't know who to give it to, and I don't know who they should give it to either. And so I've come to think that maybe I am an externalizer, external person. I need that external verbal out loud person to talk. That's probably why I've always ended up going back to therapy. I needed it to verbalize and externally, oh yeah, external processor, externally process what I am thinking and going through in my day. And so this is my external processing videos. Thank you for watching. I love you. I honor you. I hope the best for you though. I hope that you're doing all right. I hope that you don't struggle with meeting people and having friends and getting a life worth living and not being alone and that kind of thing. And I hope you got money in your pocket, because that's very important too. And I hope you get a hug today or tomorrow. I'll give you a hug. 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 Bye bye, everybody. Bye bye. I'm way too sleepy right now. Bye bye. Bye bye.